So we start off with love-hate running backs. We heard from Breece Hall on the trade rumours that are swirling around him.
This is probably my fifth month dealing with this now. So at this point, it is what it is. I'm here. I want to be here. I love being a New York Jet and everything. But at the end of the day, I don't control what goes on. I only control what I do on the field and how I handle my business off the field. So, for me, it's all about, like I said, servicing my teammates and coaches the best way I can, and letting God handle whatever else. I'm every day I come out, like I said, I'm servicing my teammates and coaches, glorifying God, and letting whatever happens after that.
Okay, well, it might be Breece Hall's last appearance on the love list as a New York Jet. Who knows? But he is there, Matthew. You're counting on him tuning out the noise in a favourable matchup against Carolina.
Yeah, you see him right there at running back 12. Well, he since Braylon Allen went on IR, it's basically been the Breece Hall show. 82% of the Jets' running back touches in the two games since Allen went down. And so you're like, okay, he's going to get a heavy workload. What does that mean? Well, against Carolina, it means quite a bit, because 3 of the 4 running backs that have seen at least 15 touches against the Carolina Panthers this year have scored at least 16 or more fantasy points. Garrett Wilson, unlikely to play in this game, or even if he does, he'd be less than 100%. My expectation is that Garrett Wilson misses this game. So you're like, what's this offense? It's going to be Justin Fields' legs, Breece Hall's legs, Mason Taylor catching some balls, but it's a good matchup against Carolina. So, yeah, I think Breece Hall, I understand people being like, dude, I cannot go back to the Jets offense after what I just saw last week. I get it. Speaking as somebody who squeaked by in a guillotine league and where I started Justin Fields by literally 0.7, I get it. But I do think there's no way they're as bad as they were last week, and that Breece Hall has a floor, especially given the matchup against the Carolina Panthers.
Last week was a tough game. Like, it was not to...
Is that what happened to your neck? You watched that game, and then that just, you're like,
I was in the
surgery?
game, playing for the Jets, trying to catch a pass from Fields. Like, I was like, oh, man, I broke the net. Now I'm back here on a fantasy football show. But nonetheless, that Denver Broncos defense, man, it's tough. And if you, again, I think we talked about it on pregame, the Broncos kind of just like, people forget about the fact that they only put up 13 points too against the Jets, but the Jets offense was so bad, it just left a stench on us in what seems like for a lot of fantasy managers forever. But Matthew, to your point, if you look at this matchup with the Carolina Panthers, a lot of guys like Breece Hall and Justin Fields and Mason Taylor should get a lot of relief in this matchup.
Yeah, it's so funny the way people talk about the Jets-Broncos game. So it's like a traumatic experience. It's a stain on the great sport of football.
It's like you can never play another football game again.
Send international relations with Britain back decades.
My grandfather, served in the war. You know what I mean? And like hearing the stories that he talked about is like when I hear football fans. I understand you served overseas, but you know what? I had to watch Broncos Jets from start to finish.
Mr. T, Breece on Chiefs would wreck our worlds. Can we just get him to Kansas City? Can we get him to Kansas City? It'd be so fun.
Anyone to Kansas City.
Really tired of watching Kareem Hunt.
Well, it would solve Breece Hall's issues. It would serve. It would solve our issues of trying to figure out which of Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco is going to stink less. We can't free Brashad Smith. Anyway, it's.
Well, what happens when Breece Hall gets on the Chiefs and he makes a 42-yard run on like 3 carries? Then Kareem Hunt comes into the game.
It'd be annoying, but at least it would be better than what we have here. I saw a tweet, and I don't know if it's from like a real account or anything like that. But
let's say it anyway.
Well, but it's just so funny. Like that there was some report out there that the Seahawks are exploring trying to trade for Devon Achane.
Sure.
You're like, stop it! What are we doing here? I would like my friend JJ quote tweeted it. JJ Zachariason quote tweeted it, said, "I would quit fantasy football," and I get it, JJ. I hear you. That would be awful.
That was so.
Okay, let's keep it rolling. My addition to the love list: Jacory Croskey-Merritt.
Yes, sir.
The Cowboys run defense, who just turned Uncle Rico into Uncle LaDainian Tomlinson circa 2004. So amazing matchup, and the key thing is that I get that it was a little lost because speaking of traumatic experiences, Monday night for Matthew as the Commanders lose to the Bears, and JCM didn't do a ton in that game, but he got a massive workload. He got 17 of the 20 running back carries that the Commanders had. That continues the trend from the previous week where he's gone from like 50% of the touches to 70% of the touches and above. So I think, Matthew, that this is just JCM's backfield, and I think that he could absolutely explode against the Cowboys.
Bottom 3 run defense as well. I agree with you. The usage is there. The explosiveness is there. He hasn't put it all together yet. The fumbles have hurt a little bit. But in a game in which it's the over-under is 54.5. It's the highest game on the Week 7 slate. So I think you want as much a part of that game as you can get. And because there's so much uncertainty around the Commanders' offense, JCM, Bill Croskey-Merritt, is one of the few that you can sort of say, like, all right, that's a guy that's going to get between 15 and 20 touches in a high-scoring game.
Yep. Another rookie with a favorable matchup, Matthew, is Quinshon Judkins.
Sure.
Who didn't do a great deal against the Steelers. That was tough because they were playing from behind the whole game. Might have more favorable game script against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually favored, right? I mean, so, like, it's rare. They're 2.5-point favorites at home against the Dolphins is shocking. But the point is game script shouldn't affect Quinshon Judkins, who should get a massive workload against this Dolphins defense, guys, that's been brutal. Over the last 4 weeks, they're giving up 150 yards, rushing yards per game. That's most in the NFL. They're giving up 6.4 yards per carries to opposing running backs. Now, obviously, some of that is skewed by what Rico Dowdle did to them, but still, 4 weeks is a long track record here. 4 of their past 5 games, they've given up at least 20 fantasy points to opposing running backs. So you're not like, well, was it just the Rico Dowdle game? No. 4 out of the past 5 games, a running back has scored at least 20 fantasy points against the Miami Dolphins. And so Judkins, where it should be a neutral or favorable game script for the Browns, should get a lot of run. I have him as a top 15 play. Think he probably gets into the end zone in this one as well. He should be a chubby leather daddy this week. He should be in your starting lineup.
He'll be fully chubbed up.
Yeah.
Dressed in tight leather. Speaking, Lawrence, of another guy who has a good chance to get into
You're
the
wearing
end
a
zone.
neck brace. But you can't talk crap about it. You're in a neck brace.
And it still ain't tighter than some chubby daddy leather pants.
Stop it.
It's good.
You're wearing a camouflage hat and a neck brace.
Oh, it's very,
on national
very good.
television.
Okay, not quite as
Quinshon
chubby.
Judkins, you wear those leather pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't wear them too high like he did at Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a leatherless running back, but a running back nonetheless. Kareem Hunt gets a very favorable matchup, Lawrence, against the Raiders, where the Chiefs are almost 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and guess what? Kareem Hunt, 187 rushing yards through 6 games.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, right? Under 4 yards a carry, but he's got 3 rushing touchdowns. Guess how much Isaiah Pacheco has? 0. Kareem Hunt has 5 carries inside the 5. That's where he scored all 3 of his touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco, 0 carries inside the 5. Now we talk about the Raiders part of this equation. They're tied for allowing the 3rd most rushing touchdowns to the running back position. I think we all expect the Kansas City Chiefs to be near that goal line early and often. They're also 11.5-point favorites, so you expect Kareem Hunt to at least find the end zone again here, despite what happens in between the 20s.
They do seem to like him a lot and trust him in those goal-to-go situations. Raiders are not their run defense is better than their pass defense, but it's not like the run defense is amazing. It's it's 15th. It's middle of the pack over the last 4 weeks. But to your point, the Chiefs' offense, especially in a week in which Rashee Rice is back, is just rolling. You know what I mean? And, like, we've talked about this. We think Mahomes is going to go scorched earth the rest of the way. And so, they get in close. 1 or 2 of those are going to Kareem Hunt. I think he's got as good a chance.
Pacheco there.
No, they don't at all. So I like there's a reasonable expectation that he falls in the end zone at least once this weekend.
Yep. Let's get to others receiving votes, headlined by another guy with a chance of getting into the end zone. That's Jaylen Warren tonight, Matthew.
Yeah, Bengals are allowing 166 yards from scrimmage to opposing running backs. They're giving up at least 17 points to a running back in every game this season, the Bengals are. And so in a game where you've got older quarterbacks on a short week, expect a heavy run game from Pittsburgh and Jaylen Warren. You see him as a top 15 play for me. How about J.K. Dobbins? I know last week wasn't great, but now he's playing the Giants, who are giving up running back rushing touchdowns at the 7th highest rate. Dobbins continues to be the lead back of the Denver Broncos. And I get it, Ramondre Stevenson, not the sexiest play, but it's worth noting that no team in the NFL has given up more rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs this year than the Tennessee Titans. Have given up at least 1 running back rushing touchdown in every game this year. Literally every game this year, they've given it up. Stevenson has seen 83% of the Patriots' goal line attempts in the last 2 games. They just don't want to seem to give Travion Henderson a lot of work, Lawrence, and also no Antonio Gibson. And this is a revenge game for Mike Vrabel. He's going to want to run up the score, a lot of touchdowns. I think Ramondre's got a good shot at getting in.
I kind of see him as the same. Well, not the same as Kareem Hunt,
but he's in that mix. Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson. The difference between them is Stevenson to get more volume there. So, yeah, definitely like him here.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.